It is early on a Saturday morning. You are standing at the kitchen window with your coffee, watching the feeder out by the garden, and a black bird drops onto the platform. You have seen that bird 1,000 times. You have probably called it a blackbird or a crow and gone back to your coffee. The little brown ones hopping around underneath all look the same to you. The red one is a cardinal, and that is about where your list ends. Plenty of folks live like that for decades, sharing a backyard with 15 or 20 kinds of birds and able to name maybe three of them. But that black bird on your feeder is not a crow. It is one of three completely different species, and by the end of this video, you will tell all three apart in about 2 seconds, right from the kitchen window, without binoculars. And stay with me all the way to the end because I'm going to show you how I name a bird from 50 feet away in bad light without seeing a single feather of colour. It comes down to one thing a bird cannot hide, and once you see it, you will never squint at a bird book again. I'm Steve Calloway. I have been growing food in the same Midwest backyard for more than 20 years in raised beds and in-ground rows. And the birds I'm about to show you have worked those beds right alongside me the whole time. I learned gardening by testing things side by side and writing down what actually happened. And that habit of paying close attention works just as well on birds. My wife Karen keeps our harvest log, and she will tell you I spend nearly as much time watching the feeder as I do weeding. Now, why should a gardener care which bird is which? Money mostly. A single pair of chickadees raising one nest of babies has to catch somewhere between 6,000 and 9,000 caterpillars to get those chicks out of the nest. 6 to 9,000. That is 1,000, not 100, from one little family in a few weeks. And a good share of those caterpillars were headed for your tomatoes and your cabbage. A robin working your lawn is pulling grubs that would have spent the whole summer chewing grass roots. These birds are a pest crew that works for sunflower seed, but you cannot appreciate a crew you cannot name. And the bird books do not help much. You buy a field guide, it has 800 birds in it, and the one on your feeder looks like 30 of them. So you give up. The truth of a central or eastern backyard is far simpler than that book. About a dozen regulars account for nearly everything that lands in your yard, year in and year out. Learn the dozen and you have learned your backyard. So today I am walking you through them the way I learned them, one at a time, with the one field mark and the one habit that gives each bird away. And keep that promise from the start in your back pocket, the one about naming a bird without seeing any colour. Because every bird we meet today is quietly building toward it. Now, one thing before we meet the first bird, the reason those chickadees find so much to eat at my place is the vegetable garden behind that feeder. And everything I know about running that garden comes down to the same habit, watching closely and testing what works. I wrote the whole system down in a book called Steve's 30-Day Maximum Yield Protocol. It is the exact 30-day system I follow in this backyard to roughly double what every plant produces, written out day by day from soil preparation all the way through harvest, for home gardeners who want a lot more food from the space they already have. No extra square footage and no expensive equipment. And it works the same in raised beds, in-ground plots and containers. Inside is the Big 7 Yield Killers, the checklist I use to find whatever is holding a garden back, plus feeding for fruit instead of foliage, the strategic pruning that feels dead wrong but multiplies production, and the companion and succession planning systems with the science behind why each one works. It is 115 pages, and right now it is $17, marked down from $47. That is less than one flat of tomato starts for a garden that pays you back all season. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you use to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up, give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you're watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time. There is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. All right, coffee refilled. Let's meet the first bird, and I'm starting you with an easy win. Bird number 1. The northern cardinal. The male is the bird on the seed bag, red from crest to tail, with a black mask around an orange beak. But the bird people misname is his wife. The female cardinal is a soft, warm brown, and folks decide she must be something else entirely. Look again. She wears the same pointed crest on her head and the same bright orange beak. And that crest is the whole test. If the bird is red or warm brown and wears a pointed crest, it is a cardinal. Red plus crest. Nothing else in your yard passes that test. One habit gives them away too. Cardinals are the first bird at the feeder before the sun is fully up, and the last one there at dusk, and they announce themselves with a sharp, metallic chip, like two pennies clicked together. In 20 years, I have never had a morning in this garden without that sound. Bird number 2, the house finch, and this is the cardinal imposter. Every summer, somebody tells me they have a baby cardinal, and it is almost always this bird. A house finch is sparrow-sized, streaky brown all over, with raspberry red on the head and chest only, and no crest at all. So run the test again. Red all over with a crest means cardinal. Red on the front half of a small streaky brown bird with a flat head means house finch. Their habit is the opposite of the cardinal too. House finches arrive in chatty little flocks, park themselves on the feeder perches, and sit there eating for minutes at a stretch like it is a diner booth. Bird number 3, the blue jay. You will not need much help here because a blue jay introduces himself. He is big, nearly robin-sized, brilliant blue on top with black and white bars across the wings and tail, white underneath, and wearing a crest like the cardinal does. His habit is what makes him famous. A blue jay will do a screaming imitation of a red-tailed hawk to clear every other bird off the feeder, then drop in and help himself. He also hauls peanuts and acorns away one at a time and buries them all over the yard, and the ones he forgets grow into oak trees. Loud, blue, crested, and up to something. That is a jay. Bird number 4, the American robin, and here is where I want you to start watching behavior instead of feathers. Yes, the robin has that rusty orange breast, a dark grey head and back, and a yellow beak. But you can name a robin from a block away by how it moves on a lawn. It runs a few quick steps, stops dead still, tilts its head at the grass, and then strikes down for a worm. Run, stop, tilt. No other bird on your lawn does that, and here is a fact that surprises people. Robins mostly ignore seed feeders because their diet is worms, grubs, and fruit. When the robins show up working your lawn hard in late winter, that is the soil telling you it has thawed enough for the worms to come up. I mark it in the garden notes every year. Bird number 5, the mourning dove. This is the plump grey-tan bird with the tiny round head and the long pointed tail, usually waddling around under the feeder, cleaning up what the sloppy eaters knock down. 2 things give a dove away without any field guide at all. First, when it takes off, its wings make a sharp whistling sound, a little rising squeak on every beat. Second, that low, sad cooing you hear on summer mornings, the one half the neighbourhood swears is an owl. That is not an owl. Owls call at night. That soft coo 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 in the daylight is a mourning dove on a wire, and once you know it, you will hear it everywhere. Bird number 6, the black-capped chickadee. And down south of about the Ohio River, its nearly identical twin, the Carolina chickadee. Tiny bird, black cap, black bib under the chin, bright white cheeks. But watch what it does at the feeder, because this is the tell. A chickadee never sits and eats. It darts in, grabs exactly one sunflower seed, and flies off to a branch to hammer it open, then comes back for the next one, all day long, like a little shuttle service, and it says its own name, Chick-a-dee-dee-dee. This is the bird from our caterpillar number earlier, 6,000 to 9,000 caterpillars for one nest of babies. Every chickadee pair in your yard is running a pest control route through your garden that you could not buy at any price. Bird number 7, the tufted titmouse, and it usually travels in the chickadee's company. Soft grey on top, pale underneath, with a peachy wash along the sides, a small grey crest, and big round black eyes that give it a permanently surprised expression. Same shuttle habit as the chickadee, one seed at a time, and a clear whistled Peter, Peter, Peter from the trees. If a little grey bird with a crest is raiding your feeder alongside the chickadees, that is your titmouse. Bird number 8, the white-breasted nuthatch, and this one you will identify without seeing its colours at all. It is a small blue-grey bird with a white face and belly, but forget the colours and watch the trunk of the nearest tree. The nuthatch is the only backyard bird in America that walks headfirst down a tree trunk, upside down, calm as you please, checking the bark for insects the woodpeckers missed on the way up. Now notice what just happened there. You could paint that bird any colour you like, and you would still name it in 1 second by how it moves. Hold on to that, because the trick I promised you at the very start is built on exactly this, and we are getting close to it. Bird number 9, the dark-eyed junco. The bird the old-timers call the snowbird. Slate grey on top, snow white on the belly with a little pink beak, like a grey bird that waded through milk. Here is the habit. Juncos almost never land on the feeder itself. They shuffle and hop on the ground underneath it, kicking through the litter, and when they fly up, you will see white edges flash along the tail. And they are seasonal. Juncos spend summer far to the north, so the week they appear under your feeder is the week to finish your garden cleanup, because the first hard cold is coming behind them. In my notes, they have called the first killing frost better than the television weatherman more than once. Bird number 10, the American goldfinch, the bird that fools people twice a year. In summer, the male is unmistakable, brilliant yellow with a black cap and black wings, the colour of a fresh dandelion. Then every fall, folks tell me their goldfinches left. They did not leave. A goldfinch molts into a drab olive brown for winter, and it is sitting on the same feeder wearing a disguise. Goldfinches are strict seed eaters, which is why they mob a Niger seed sock, and they fly in a roller coaster, a rising flutter, and a closed wing dip over and over, calling on every dip. That bouncing flight names them at any distance, in any season, in any plumage. Bird number 11, the house sparrow, the little brown chatterer around your porch, your gutters, and the parking lot of every grocery store in America. The male has a grey cap and a black bib on the chest. The female is plain buff brown with a pale stripe behind the eye, and she is the little brown bird most people give up on. One honest note from a gardener, because I only teach what the beds show me. House sparrows will nip young seedlings and pea shoots in spring, and they will crowd native birds out of nest boxes. I do not hate any bird, but I do not go out of my way to feed this one either. Bird number 12, the downy woodpecker, the small black and white woodpecker on your sweet cage with a clean white stripe down its back, the male with one red spot on the back of his head. Simple enough, except he has a nearly identical big cousin, the hairy woodpecker, same colours, same pattern. So here is the rule, and it is the bill. Look at the beak against the head. The downy's bill is short and stubby, clearly shorter than its head is deep. The hairy's bill is nearly as long as its head. Short bill, downy. Long bill, hairy. Say it twice, and it sticks. And if a bigger woodpecker with a zebra-striped back and a red hood running over its head shows up, that is the red-bellied woodpecker. And yes, the name is terrible, because the red is on its head where anyone can see it. Which brings us right back to your kitchen window this morning and that blackbird on the feeder. There are 3 suspects, and they are 3 completely different birds. Suspect 1 is the European starling. Short, almost stubby tail, a long pointed beak that turns bright yellow in summer, and a strange, stiff walk across the lawn like a wind-up toy. In winter, a starling is covered in little white speckles like someone shook salt over it. Suspect 2 is the common grackle, longer than a robin, with a pale yellow eye that almost glows, a glossy purple-blue sheen on the head in good light, and the real giveaway, a long tail that it folds into a ridge down the middle, shaped like the keel of a boat. A grackle does not hop, it struts. Suspect 3 is the red-winged blackbird, trim and jet black, with a red and yellow patch on each shoulder, and he spends most of his time singing conklery from cattails and fence lines near water, visiting your feeder on the side. And if the blackbird is huge, half again bigger than all of these, that is simply a crow. And no crow fits on a feeder perch. So the 2-second test is this. Check the tail, check the eye, check the shoulder. Short tail, starling, keeltail and yellow eye, grackle, red shoulder patch, red-winged blackbird, tail, eye, shoulder. And notice something before we go on. You just told three nearly identical blackbirds apart, and colour barely entered into it. Which brings us finally to the payoff I promised you at the start. The one thing a bird cannot hide is its shape and the way it moves. Colours lie to you constantly. At dusk, against a bright sky, every bird in your yard is a blackbird, including that cardinal. Females wear different colours than males. Young birds wear different colours than their parents. The goldfinch changes costumes twice a year, but a bird cannot change its silhouette, its tail, its beak, or its gait, and that is how the old field ornithologist named birds at a distance long before anyone owned a decent pair of binoculars. Here is the 4-step check, and take your time with it. There is no rush. Check 1 is size. Ask whether the bird is closer to a sparrow, a robin, or a crow. Those 3 sizes sort your whole backyard. Check 2 is the tail. Ask whether it is long or short and whether it is pointed, squared off, or folded into that keel. Check 3 is the beak. A thick cone-shaped beak means a seed cracker, like a cardinal or a finch. A thin needle beak means a bug eater, like a chickadee or a nuthatch. A straight chisel means a woodpecker. Check 4 is movement. Ask whether it hops or walks, whether it climbs up the trunk or down it, and whether it flies in a straight line or a roller coaster. Now watch it work. 50 feet away, fading light, a dark shape lands on the feeder pole. Bigger than a sparrow. The tail is long, with that ridge folded down the middle. It lands and struts instead of hopping. That is a grackle, named start to finish, and I never saw one colour. Size, tail, beak, movement. That is the whole method, and it will name a bird faster than any app on any phone. The garden taught me the same lesson years ago. The garden doesn't lie. It rewards the system, not the guesswork, and the birds are no different. And that is exactly the kind of thing the whole protocol is built on. A simple, tested system that beats guesswork every single time. If you want that system for your vegetable beds, Steve's 30-day maximum yield protocol lays it out day by day. And our own harvest log says it roughly doubled what this backyard produces. It is $17 right now instead of $47, and one good tomato season pays that back many times over. If you have been meaning to grab it, this is the moment. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you use to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up, give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you're watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time. There is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. So there it is. 12 backyard regulars plus 3 blackbirds, 1 field mark and 1 habit each, and a 4-step check that names a bird without a single colour. Now tell me in the comments what state you're in and which of these birds owns your feeder right now. I read every single one. Next time, I'm going to show you the $5 change to my feeder setup that filled this yard with cardinals and chickadees and quietly sent the starlings somewhere else. I tested it myself all last winter, and the difference surprised even me. Get out there and get your hands dirty, and I'll see you in the garden.